This week, the House passed a new bill to help lift the veil of government secrecy. That is a new report from the House Oversight Committee finds the Freedom of Information Act, or FOIA, is broken. The law signed by President Lyndon Johnson 50 years ago was supposed to make it easier for Americans to access public records, but critics say government agencies have adopted an unlawful presumption in favor of secrecy that doesn't measure up.
We also always have to remember who we work for. We work for the American people, and the American people are paying the tab, and it's their government, and they have the right to know.
Republican Jason Chaffetz heads the House Oversight Committee, which issued the new report after bipartisan hearings last summer on the broken Freedom of Information, or FOIA, process. I, along with representatives from Vice News, the New York Times, and others, testified about egregious violations by federal agencies, which frequently fail to provide public information in the 20 business days required under FOIA law. In 2013, the Defense Department finally responded to a FOIA request I'd made in 2003. Too late to be of use for the news story I was working on back then, 10 years before. For some perspective, my daughter was 8 years old when I made the FOIA request. By the time I got a response from the Pentagon, she was going off to college.
I have submitted thousands of FOIA requests to dozens of different agencies, and in my experience, fewer than 1% of my requests have been decided within the time frame required by FOIA.
The news media and public may sue the government to get the information, but that can take years, and the government uses your tax dollars to defend itself.
A citizen's right to get information released in a timely fashion should not turn on whether the citizen is fortunate enough to have the resources and know-how to sue.
The new report from the House Oversight Committee says backlogs of Freedom of Information Act requests have more than doubled since President Obama took office, and agencies are sitting on thousands of unfulfilled document requests. Congressman Elijah Cummings of Maryland is the top Democrat on the Oversight Committee.
The Obama administration, which I believe will go down in history as the most transparent administration to date.
He calls the report erroneous, highly partisan, and incomplete.
From 2009 to 2014, the overall number of FOIA requests submitted to the federal agencies increased by 28%, with new records set in each of the past 4 years in a row.
Still, Cummings agrees FOIA reform is needed.
Congress must give these agencies more resources.
This week, the House voted on a bill that he co-sponsored to strengthen FOIA law.
The bill is passed, and without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
The bipartisan bill would require government agencies to update regulations, post frequently requested information online, and release all information not covered by national security after 25 years.
We regularly use the Freedom of Information Act, and we regularly find ourselves frustrated.
Republican Darrell Issa of California co-sponsored the FOIA bill.
No longer, after this bill is signed into law, will an administration, Republican or Democratic, be able to presume that they're going to say no if they possibly can. Instead, this bill shifts the burden to the presumption of yes.
The bill would also create one single website people could use to submit FOIA requests to any government agency. A similar bill is awaiting a vote in the Senate. The White House hasn't said whether the president will sign it. Coming up on Full Measure, we take a look at some of our favorite things, like calling out the government for wasting your money on things like this. Know this man? Of course you do. Walt Disney, father of Mickey Mouse. Then why did the federal government spend $600,000 of your tax dollars to make a film about it?